All right, here we go. Overdrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 2. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan. We're live on the 14th tee at the RBC Canadian Open. The action has officially arrived.
Yes.
People are cruising around.
What's the one player we better be quiet for? Like, who's the one guy
Rory
that we don't want wheeling up here?
Rory's off the course, so we don't
Okay,
have to worry
good.
about him. We'd have to look at who's out there in the afternoon. I think Sammy Burns is out there. Cam Young's out there and chopping it around a little bit.
He is?
He was. He was 2 over at one point. So if Cam Young rolls through here, that could be concerning. Sammy Burns could be concerning. There's a number of possible options, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. We just have to be respectful, right? There's professionals about to tee off on 14.
Yeah, and they're right behind us. We can kind of tell when they're going to hit. So if it's a guy like one of our boys, Mac Hughes, we just quiet down while they're about to hit.
That's right.
And we can face this way instead of facing the other way.
I think
and yelling
projection
at
is a
them,
big part of it.
right?
Yes,
Like
I think projection is a big part of it.
if you're projecting that way, it's fine. They're not going to hear us. There's a crowd. There's crowds everywhere. There's a pretty good.
There's a lot of
atmosphere
people out here. I've been here all day, and I was looking for around the green guy.
Yeah.
And I feel like now there's people trying to play the role, like knowing I'm around and they know that they're looking for content. So I didn't find like the genuine around the green guy, but I did find a new guy. I found a new guy, and I think you'll enjoy this guy.
Drunk guy.
I saw it. No, it's a saying. It's always a saying to the players, as if they really want to hear this. All right, so my dad and I were sitting on the 8th green, or around the 8th green. It's a short par 4. Most guys are laying up and then hitting wedges in. 3 guys hit drivers off the tee. Fitzpatrick, he was wide left in a tree. I got a picture we could post. I'm sure he'll love that. And then McIlroy and Tyrrell Hatton were wide right in the trees. Everyone else was laying up. So Justin Rose came through first. He hits a shot. It just misses getting to the green, pops back into the bunker.
Right.
He starts walking up. Guy says what he says to him. The next group through is Matt Fitzpatrick. He chops one up past the green. He's on the other side of the green, deep rough, but didn't hit the green and reg. This was the saying the guy said to both gentlemen, as if they needed this help.
Tough break guy.
You can get up and down from there, guy. He starts talking of Justin Rose. He's like, you're good. You can get up and down from there. Fitzy was kind of rattled because he was in the lead at that point, and he knew he had put himself in a bad spot.
I was there. It's nasty,
It's
rough behind
gnarly
the 8th green.
around 8th green. But this guy said it twice, and then we left. I can only imagine he was sitting there all day. Anyone that missed the green, it was, you can get up and down from there. I don't think they need that type of pep talk. I think they're aware as pro athletes that they're capable of getting up and down from a bunker beside the green.
It's Captain Obvious,
Well,
isn't
It's
it?
incredibly
you
obvious,
think-
and it's so unnecessary
No,
to
I
say
know.
that to a pro. You can get up and down from there. Thanks, pal. See you later.
I mean, GD's sitting over there. Like, don't you sooner or later, with all the nonsense that you hear from people in the crowd, you just want to say, how about you just put a sock in it, guy? You know what I mean? Like, you
Just keep it
one
to yourself.
time,
Thing
put
is, though,
put a sock in it and
Right.
keep it to yourself. You're thinking out loud, and I don't want to hear it.
It's just something you would say to a playing partner
Right.
at, your home track or whatever. You're okay, buddy. Like a little,
But
you can get up and down from there. You'll be okay in a big match. Justin Rose doesn't want to hear that when he's 5 under
This is
and he's
sports,
wrapping up
though.
his round.
This is sports. How many times we had the argument, like how many times you got a guy on a power play in hockey.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Got to shoot that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Of another Bud Light, please.
Exactly. Like, that is the beauty of sports. Now, golf is a little bit more intimate. There's just a rope, and you're 10 feet away from a guy who's got to chime in about something.
And this was the wild thing about where Fitzpatrick was. He was right under a tree, so immediately everyone swarms to it.
Right.
And, he's kind of telling people, like, politely.
Give me a little space.
Guys, and
Take a lap.
no one wants to move, right? And that was a big part of Around the Green guy last year, where he was saying, no, I don't have to move here because I've seen that already. And the security and the marshals are like, please, just do me a favor.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm from Toronto, too. Just move 3 feet that way. Everyone's going to see the shot.
Dude,
Yeah,
there's a ton of
it's
events.
all good.
There's a ton of events where grown adults can hammer beers a golf event is one of them, man.
I think it's in the top 3.
It is because it's mandatory. It's like they wake up, they put their socks on, their underpants. At the course, I need a beer right now.
Immediately. And it's early, and it's a festival type thing. Because you show up at 9, you're leaving at 8 o'clock. You're putting in like an 11 or 12-hour shift.
Yes.
This is Vegas for people.
Absolutely.
In Vegas, you can drink a beer for breakfast because that's
anytime
just people
you want.
do. Anytime you want. This is Vegas for people. They're showing up to watch a guy tee off. They want a Bud Light because they've taken the day off.
Yeah, we'll have something to drink.
Yeah,
Sleeman, we'll have a Sleeman.
Yeah,
we'll take care of that. That's a lot of those are popping around. I'm seeing those.
The Sleemans?
The Sleemans are basically everywhere on the grounds.
I saw a lot of the, like the drinks, the flavored water, like the vodka drinks.
Yeah, there's a lot of vodka drinks too. I think everyone that needs whatever they're looking for, they're going to find it at the RBC Canadian Open.
I'll take a Sleeman Orange. They look pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. They're pretty solid. Another thing I witnessed, again on 8, because we had just seen Rory was coming through. And Rory was playing with Justin Rose, and he was supposed to play with Webb Simpson, my boy.
Yes.
I love Webb Simpson.
He would have been a mild dose of the suntan lotion today.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough cloud. I think he would have probably taken it easy. Maybe an SPF 45
Did
today.
you see who subbed in for old Webby?
Well, here's what we're getting to.
Omar Uresti.
Dude,
I think he's a club pro.
My dad and I were standing there, and we're trying to be respectful. And I'm not kidding you. Every single person was like, who the hell is that playing with McIlroy and Rose? Like, that's the A-list group. That's Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, and Omar Uresti. And here's another thing. He plays slow, man.
Omar does?
He was standing over a 2-foot putt. I thought McIlroy was going to throw a club at him. Rose just said, I'm out of here. Rose was nowhere to be found. He left. He went to the 19th.
Well, he's probably nervous to play in front of those two studs.
Absolutely.
Dude,
that is A-list.
Tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be a little chat because what is Omar, +5 right now?
He happens to be 4 over par.
Okay, so they are going to both pull him aside on the first deck and say, you're going to play fast today because I'm not watching it, Omar.
There were a lot of waggles. There was a lot of reads. It was and like Rory plays fast, and Rose was moving at a pretty good clip too, and they're both playing well. Like Rose, I think finished 4 or 5 under. McIlroy birdied 18, which was the 9th for him. He ends up 1 under. And they show up today thinking, all right, where's Webb? Like, Webb Simpson's been on the tour for 20 years. He would know them well.
Yeah.
Webb's not going to be here today.
So
here's Omar Uresti.
Oh.
And poor Omar
He had a tough one.
He had a bit of a tough time. Listen, 4 over on this track is still a phenomenal score. Like, it really is. It's playing incredibly tough out there. And it's just great to be here. It's an awesome vibe here at the RBC Canadian Open. So shout out to everyone that's coming down. If you're not coming down today, if you're coming down throughout the weekend, it's a can't-miss operation. So It's great to be here. And we're going to be, again, behind the 17th tee all day, or the 14th tee all day. We'll see kind of who comes through and what kind of glares we get. It might be
I
a
think
side
Mac
eye
Hughes
or two.
is going to be trucking through here in a couple hours.
That's
Only
right.
An hour and a half or something.
Yep, Mac's out there right now. He's on the course.
Can we stop the show and cheer for him? Like, who's got him with their? Who did you take him?
He took him with the first pick. He
That's
took Mac
right.
Hughes. Yep, we got a lot of Canadians though sitting at the top or near the top. Corey Connors is T1. He's at 5 under. He had a great day. Roger Sloan, saw Roger earlier today. He's looking good, feeling good. You got Weirs. He's 2 under. Weirs
total after 18?
No, he's through 10. So Mike Weirs coming through at any moment now. Taylor Pendress out there. He's 2 under. He's playing with Weirsy. So we're gonna have Weirsy coming through here at any minute.
If you've got -5 after 1, is that are we looking at -20 on a Sunday type of thing?
Possibly, but I think that's a good start. Like the course is holding up well.
I'll bet you 500, and you can witness it. Weirsy gave me the thumbs up 4 days in a row walking after his tee shot
chance.
at this very hole. Look, Hayes, you can see right through there.
Yeah.
Weirsy's going to come through there.
He's not
giving. Do you want it for 500?
For 5? Absolutely.
Great chip yesterday, by the way.
But thank you very much. But you can't instigate a thumbs up Like, you can't sit there and say, hey, Mike Weir, it's me, Jeff O'Neill.
Dude,
give me a thumbs up.
I would never do that. It's just going to be a pro athlete to pro athlete.
You did that to Billy Haas 2 days ago. You did that to Bill Haas.
You gave him an O'Doyle. I think Weirzy could give you an O'Doyle. Maybe,
he may give you the
exactly.
It may not be a thumb. It may actually
Luca,
be.
you let me know when Weirzy's on that green, and when he trots up to that tee, it's going to be a respect pro athlete to pro athlete thumbs up.
Can you stop asking Luca to do anything for you?
Poor Luca.
Please.
It's like
Luca's got other priorities. Right, buddy? You're all good. He's fine.
Sweating in the corner there.
He's okay. Everything's all good. All right, you're on. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. You know what? I guarantee Mac Hughes will look right past you and give me a little wave.
I think what's going to happen, though, you're going to initiate a lock. You're going to try and lock eyes with him.
Dude, it's just going to be simple man-to-man eye contact.
You're going to send a text to Bob Weeks, and Bobby's going to go out there and say, Mike, can you do me a favor?
No, Bobby doesn't like me enough to be doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, you're probably right. He wouldn't do that for you. Anyway, so we're here at the RBC Canadian Open. Bob Weeks will join us later in the hour. We got Game 3 of the Cup Final tonight. And, like, for me, it's how does Bob play, which is something we've talked about a lot. Yeah. And Matthew Tkachuk, I think, factors in too, doesn't he? Like, what are we going to see out of Matt Tkachuk?
Well, he called himself out this morning. Said, like, I need to play better. Like, he said, this is their season tonight. Like, basically paraphrasing, but he said, this is our season tonight. Because you can't go down 3 cup. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, it's curtains if they lose tonight's game. You might get one, but tonight's the pivotal game. And you've got to get it.
Yeah.
And Tkachuk said, this is our most important game of the season, but he said, I need more out of myself. Which
Absolutely.
I don't mind that. Like, I don't mind a star player shining a light on himself.
It's just honesty.
But it is honesty. He hasn't been good enough. But even if you've played great,
right?
Let's say you've had back-to-back hat tricks and your team loses 4-3. Why not go out and say, I still want to be better?
That was Draisaitl.
Yeah, exactly.
Draisaitl put 4 up, and he's like, I can be better.
Got to be better.
What?
Got to do this. I mean, it's probably just a cliche. It's probably just a nice gesture that really may not actually mean anything. But, like, Tkachuk drives the bus. And in terms of the antics, in terms of whether or not – we should look up on FanDuel if this guy's got any odds on getting a 10-minute misconduct tonight.
Would you sprinkle on it?
I would if I thought Vegas was going to win big tonight, and I don't think they're going to win big. But if the game gets out of hand, it almost feels like a lock that Tkachuk will do something to get himself kicked out or get a 10-minute misconduct.
I feel like Aiden Hill, it's a big game for him because he's played very well, but he might be due for a reset at some point too, right? Like he's been really good.
He's going to have one awful game in the Cup Final.
Exactly.
It feels that way.
If he has an off night, this is where Florida has to find a way to get to Vegas because Vegas is playing with a lot of confidence.
Yep.
A lot.
And things are breaking their way.
Yep.
That's a big part of it.
They are, but they're also steamrolling teams where they're not allowing anything to break for them. Like, they just roll over you. And we talked about that Game 7 in Dallas. Was it a Game 6?
Game 6,
Game 6 in Dallas where they just walked in there and said, not a chance, fellas.
No,
not a
going
chance.
to 7.
So they're doing that to other teams, so they need their props for that.
Well, and if they do that, again, if they do that tonight, it probably is a sweep.
I think it's curtains.
It kind of feels like,
if they lose tonight. But I think if they win tonight, I think we might have a series. I don't know. We'll see how it happens. Like if Bob steals one, maybe then you're like, okay. But I think we haven't seen the best of Florida's.
I know, but
Noodles,
my predictions have been god awful we'll call it 2 months. I've had a tough stretch of 2 months. I just don't see it happening for the Panthers. I know you're talking about Bob. He could stand on his head. I just think Vegas is going to continue to overwhelm them.
Well, they're a hell of a team.
They are a really good team, and they're feeling the mojo. There's no question.
You got to find something though, and if you're pointing at one thing, if I'm Paul Maurice, whistle to whistle, like none of the discipline. You can play hard and you can play a bit chippy, but don't be the one that gets called.
For one reason alone, Jamie, what you've been doing isn't working.
Exactly.
So why do you want to continue?
The other
to do
day,
it?
Ryan Lomberg cross-checks,
Yeah.
Cross-checks
I mean, that
Marchessault
shouldn't lead to you getting smoked because of one bad penalty. Like, the wheels really fell off.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that started the ball rolling, and then they never got it back. And, and to me, you've got to have a great start. Bobrovsky's got to be dialed in, but I think they're top players. Reinhardt's had looks. Verhaeghe's had a breakaway. Like, Reinhardt's had a breakaway. Like, you got to score. You got to find a way. If Aiden Hill's playing well, find a way to get him frustrated and moving. Like, it's not like I think he's a good goaltender, and he's obviously playing at the top of his game, but That's not Vasilevsky down there. That's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like
you can run him out of a game.
Well,
you can. I mean, it's not like this guy is a lock to stand on his head at any point.
That's my point.
He's played well, and he deserves all the credit for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see what comes of it tonight. Kevin Weeks of ESPN NHL Network does a lot of work with us. He's reporting that Shane Doan is coming up with Brad Treliving and going to be an assistant GM up here in Toronto. And it's an interesting hire because they would have known each other when Treliving was in Arizona, for sure. And yet Doan has had his roots in Arizona for a long, long time.
Yeah, he's like
he's Mr. Arizona
cattle
hockey
guy in Arizona. He's got like a ranch.
When you think of that organization, don't you think of Shane Doan? Like
That's
Arizona Coyotes?
Exactly.
Now, it'd be interesting to see. Doan is a hockey guy, just won with Team Canada recently. Like, he has worked his way up. He has a long-standing relationship with Brad Treliving, but be interesting to see what his relationship is with 34 too. Like that might factor in as well because growing up in Arizona, I'm sure Shane Doan was a factor or at least somebody he looked up to. So be interesting to see how that all unfolds.
Grappler,
just to add just to add in on that. So this tweet's kind of been making the rounds since the Shane Doan hiring was announced. It's from 2017 after Doan announced his retirement. Matthews tweeted, "My childhood idol growing up, amazing player and an even better person." So,
all right,
sounds like he's his idol.
Well, Grappler, news and notes section.
I love it. Grappler bringing the heat immediately. Him and Luca are doing great work back there.
Luca, he's so mad
Phenomenal
right now.
work back there. Well, I don't think that can hurt. I don't think it's an icebreaker one way or the other. In terms of Matthews staying or his now I'm going to give a discount because Shane Doan's
play for
here.
$5 million now because Shane Doan's here. That's not the case.
That's not going to happen.
But it doesn't hurt to have people that you respect in that scenario. And again, Shane Doan is a good hockey person. This is Brad Treliving putting his stamp on the organization. We talked about it yesterday. Kyle Dubas, day one, fired Hextall's people. Walked in and said, "You're out, you're out, you're out." Brad Treliving has to go through the organization and figure out who he wants to keep, but also he's going to surround himself with people he wants and knows and trusts. And Shane Doan is the first one.
That's going to happen for sure. And Shane Doan's, he's a great guy. You guys know
unbelievable.
Him well. Like everyone.
Unbelievable.
Sometimes that can get thrown out, but it sounds like it's incredibly genuine when it comes to Shane Doan. And we've had him on the show a bunch.
Yeah, he's awesome.
How could
he's
you
a
not
hockey
want
lifer.
That type of personality, work ethic involved in your organization?
Right.
Yeah.
I would sign off on that all day.
I think it's exactly that. You just bring in someone else with a lot of experience, and now you're looking at Shanahan, Treliving, Doan, plus like Pridham's still there, and other people that are still there that obviously bring value to the organization, and they have the resources to do it. It has felt like Doan has been moving in a direction for quite some time where he wants to be a GM. Right, he wants to be a GM in the league. He's worked with Hockey Canada, and now he's coming up here into the biggest hockey market in the world as the AGM. This is the place where if you're an assistant GM, you're famous. Like, everyone knows the assistant GM.
Right.
If you're the assistant GM in Carolina, I'm not sure how many people are following that necessarily.
Yeah.
Up here, it's a different story. Was that just a shot of 13 up on TSN2? I think Matt Hughes is coming through.
Oh, is this what we're trying to figure out?
We have Mike Weir coming through.
Oh, that's Cooch, my guy.
Oh, look at that. Cooch is making his way up to 14T. He looks good. He's feeling good.
He's
smiling.
got a sketcher on and a bell bottom and the hairy ankles cooking
He
out there.
loves his caddy, too. He's got a great caddy, and it's all good, man. It's all good. All right, we got Bob Weeks going to join us around the table. Jays with another big win last night. Like we keep talking about Alek Manoah. But then you look at Gausman, you look at Bassett. Now you're going into Barrios tonight against Valdez, who's an absolute stud for Houston.
Yeah.
But I think Barrios will pitch well tonight.
Dude, that game last night was an absolute treat to watch.
Yep.
Like, the catch from Kiermaier, the base running, the pinch hitting, putting the catcher in there to pinch hit. Just the way they played last night, I thought it was unbelievable, start to finish.
Yeah, you have to do it against a team like that. And even Bassett coming out, he threw 81 pitches, and they pull him. But I think that's the right play. Yeah. Like, that's a classic example of a manager where if it goes wrong, you're going to get smoked.
Right.
But you can't complain that a guy came out early when the closer comes in and closes the game.
Exactly.
The only priority is winning
the game. We got one of the best closers in the game. And who did he said Alvarez was coming up for a fourth time. He said, I didn't want to see him a fourth time.
Exactly. And I'm not sure Bassett really did.
Right.
Like a lot of these guys, of course, they love the idea of a complete game. And Bassett, like, he is smoking right now, man.
Yeah.
Like, his last outing in New York against the Mets was probably better than his outing last night.
I'm
and he was
starting
phenomenal.
to warm up a lot. I was kind of like when you're feeling a guy out, you don't know what he's all about.
Great pickup.
I am warming up heavily.
But that was
Rappler, you all in
right,
on Bassett?
It was the right call.
It was to go to Romano last night. That's why you have a closer. I understand pitch count and all that, but it's more about 4th time through and a guy that you know can close. And when you get the deal done, why would anyone complain?
Nobody's complaining
there
about
shouldn't
that.
be any complaints.
Why, the Grappler's not in on Bassett or no?
Oh, no. I'm in on Bassett. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to say you're all in on someone at the beginning of June. Like, he, not to.
Dude, you got to admit,
it's not a long
trending
They didn't give him a
upward.
6 or 7 year deal. I mean, they've given him, considering what has happened with other signees,
Yes.
it has worked out very well. Like, Gosman's been a Grand Slam signing.
Yeah.
And so far, you're right, it doesn't guarantee anything, but Bassett.
Yeah. Well,
Bassett's been a.
you
There's
could also,
Cooch in the background.
You could
can
also
hear it.
argue that with Manoah gone, this team, it's not distracting, right? Like,
Yes.
him going out there and, like, it's kind of tough when you're his teammate and you're watching him struggle. It can distract the group.
Right.
And with him not there, they just keep rolling.
Well, and you look at it, like, you didn't have to go to the bullpen last night outside of Romano, and, the night before the same thing. You had Gosman pitching an absolute gem, so that's big. After Manoah did what he did, and pitched the way he pitched, he comes out after one out. They had to run through the bullpen. They've been playing a lot of games the last month and a half, like a lot of ball games. And that's what you need out of your second and third starter in Gosman and Bassett. And now, again, you go to Barrios tonight, who's been very, very good, too.
Yeah.
So more on the Jays in Houston, and their series continuing down at the Rogers Center tonight. So we'll get to that a little bit later this afternoon. Game 3 of the Cup Final tonight. We'll look back on Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
The Joker, man. This guy
Jokic
is
and Murray,
insane.
man. Triple-double apiece. And you look at their stat lines, like, very, very similar. The way they shot the ball. They were both, I think, 7 and 9 from the line. But the Joker, 30, 20, and 10. Like, that is
crazy.
a disgusting stat line. And what else are you going to do?
Miami didn't have an answer.
They had no answer for it.
I was watching that. They just have no answer for him. At one point, Lowry was guarding him.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy just going to step on him.
You get switched off in the wrong matchup, you're toast.
It was
and the way
insane.
Denver defended last night was incredibly impressive.
I'm
on
somewhat
the road.
shocked, and I'm not Mr. NBA, but I'm somewhat shocked about listening to some of the talking heads in the United States saying Jamal Murray wants to gain respect and prove himself as an all. Hasn't he been like a quality player for quite some time?
He has. He's had injury problems at
He
times.
has.
but
I get that, but like it's like he is that guy.
He is in the playoffs. The definition of a playoff performer. In the bubble, the guy was insane. What he's doing this year is crazy. He's not Jimmy Butler, but he plays in a similar type of way.
Yeah, but the way they're talking is he wants to earn all. He's got respect. People
he does
respect him.
But it's all about lists. It's all about rankings in the NBA. And that's what happens. It's like, okay, is Jamal Murray great? Yes. Is he better than Devin Booker? Or is he better than
you start to compare.
Donovan Mitchell? It's like, it's always just a list.
I know,
that's
but
the
if he
whole
gets
sport.
a ring here, the way he's performed, they got to be that's got to be reversed. Are those guys as good as
Absolutely.
Murray?
that's fair.
Absolutely. Like the two guys I just mentioned, they don't have a ring.
No kidding.
Right? Damian Lillard doesn't have a ring. I'm not here comparing one to the other, but the fact is, if Murray gets there and he's performing the way he's performing, that goes a long way. No question. All right, Bob Weeks will join us around the table. We're live at the RBC Canadian Open. Overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score up here on TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. Bob Weeks joining us around the table. How you feeling, Bob? How's everying going?
Bobby, what are your days like? Are you here at like 6 in the morning, or what's the story?
I've been here, 6:30 the last 2 days, and then get home about 6:30. Got about 12 hours a day. Not like I'm breaking rocks or digging ditches or anything, though.
Right.
Watching golf, so it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Stop and chats, though, left and right.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a legend. Every time you walk out the door, and he's just surrounded by people. Like,
1 week
literally.
a year, and all my groupies are all like 80-year-old men. That's the problem.
Right. Do you ever get asked for like any help with golf swings? Do people go to you and say, Bob, you got to help me with my wedge or my driver?
They do, and I always try to tell them, like, I'm not a golf pro. Like, I'm a 10 handicap guy. So like, I can't really, if you want to know how to, like, shank one off the tee, let me know. But, yeah, no, I'd usually direct them to a pro somewhere.
Yeah, that's like Dear Hazy B. Like, we're helping people, but they really should not be taking our advice.
We shouldn't be doing
We are
that
not
at all.
licensed.
No,
we are not licensed to do that.
Probably
whatsoever.
shouldn't be doing that. But we're seeing the all-Canadian groups coming up here. Corey Connors 5 under, though. I mean, that's a lot of people were saying it, yourself included. Ball strikers.
Ball strike your way around the track, Hazy B. He played the course.
Yep.
So he did not hit it in the rough once today. He missed 2 fairways, but he hit it on the fringe, like the first cut. So when you do that and you're Corey Connors and you put it on the green.
Well, you saying that, Bobby, and Hayes, you're a 10 handicap yourself. To go around this track and not put your golf ball in the rough, that's outrageous.
It seems impossible.
That's right.
Like, it actually seems like you can't possibly do that.
I almost wanted to ask any other player if they've had that, because I think if you look at the numbers, they give you the stats of fairways hit and everything, and I'll bet you there's nobody who's even close to that.
Right.
And so he's probably number one, and could be number one in both categories in greens.
And is he pulling back, Bobby, or is he ripping driver?
No, he looked like he was really going hard at it today. And I talked to his caddy afterwards, Danny Saul, and they said they talked about every shot more so than they've ever do normally, because they really wanted to drill in exactly. And he said, when I do that, I know that Corey, I know when I'm talking to him, I know that Corey can see the shot. When he sees the shot, then it's there. It goes where he wants it.
Yeah, that goes a long way, I would think. Being able to see the shot.
What do you see?
Well, it's blurry, man. I don't see much. Because I was speaking with someone, a caddy of another Canadian player, and he's like, we hit 1 fairway on the front.
Yeah.
And it's not like it was wild. It was like we maybe hit the fairway and it would roll off. He's like, it changed the whole complexion of the front 9.
And there's
everything changed.
And there's some choicey rough out there. Like sometimes you get where someone's walked down and it's not too bad, and then sometimes you get it where it's just bring your wedge and hack it out.
So we're seeing scores of -5 in that range. So do you think it might get to -20 type of thing by Sunday, or do you think that'll even out a little bit, kind of come back down?
I don't think it's going to go too deep. Like I said, probably 21, 22, but I'm thinking 19 might be good to sit, 18, something like that. Especially if we have this weather, like it's cool, so the ball's not flying as far. Yeah. It's kind of damp. I don't know what the forecast. I didn't see the forecast call for this, but this is not fun weather to play in.
Yeah, we just heard Get in the Hole guy. Like, we're right behind a par 3. And the Canadians are going. I think it was Fenton that just hit. Mackenzie Hughes is stepping up right now. What's the most absurd thing you've heard someone yell at a golf?
Or is there a particular guy that you find fascinating, also outrageous, where it's just, I don't know. You've been around golf courses your whole life. There's different guys. And last year we discovered around the green guy who just hovered, and he would be talking to random people. He had 80 beers in him. That's the common denominator.
And talking to pros, which is an important part. Like, he'd be saying, pretend that it hit him.
Yeah,
and
then he'd be like, just kidding. Like,
and he's like, no, slow down. It's like, it's a really fast putt. The guy's like, thanks, pal. Like, I'm a professional.
I haven't seen that, but I've seen a guy. There was a guy one time at Glen Abbey. He came about 3 or 4 years in a row, and he would roll down hills like a grown man, like the little kids. But he would roll down hills near this green, and he would try to yell when he was doing it. As for guys yelling stuff, it's all, mashed potato, that kind of stuff. It's nothing. I don't think I have anything too original, to be honest with you. But
see, like earlier, I was hanging around 8, and I heard some guy say to Justin Rose and Mackenzie Hughes, Matt Fitzpatrick, like, you can get up and down from there, like trying to coach them up basically after they miss the green. And
these are the 21 handicappers giving advice, right?
Right. You'll be okay, Rosie. You can get up and down from there. Like, he's going to stop and say, "Oh, thank you." I was concerned I couldn't from that inside bunker.
Now I'm happy that you.
Now everything's going to be fine.
That's right. Thanks for the tip, bro.
Thank you for the tip. Now I'm going to be good.
For the most part on the course,
it's been awesome out here, though.
People are respectful.
Yeah.
Unless they've had 1,000 beer, and once in a while you have waste management, probably the outlier, correct? Like that one.
Waste management's the outlier. Last year at the U.S. Open, like the day after we flew down there after the Canadian Open, Rory was on the range. We were set up right by the range, and he was talking about how the crowd was really loud, but they were respectful. So when it was time to be quiet, they were quiet. But then they went berserk and they went crazy. So it's not bad that way.
Right. We were kind of projecting what the field would be like around the course once we finally got playing, with all the news of early in the week, LIV and PGA. Now, I'm seeing reports and rumors of all types of different possibilities with this. Like, maybe it actually won't go through.
Yeah,
it's
possible.
If that happens,
how would it not go through?
I guess, I don't know, something to do with the court system in the U.S. and whether or not they allow it, and the feds. Like, you're getting in business with, like, major people in different parts of the world. I don't know. And if that happens, like, then where do you go in the golf world?
Well, Jimmy Dunn, who's the director who put this thing together on the PGA Tour, he's a Wall Street guy. I think he knows his stuff. I think he knows how to broker this. He actually had the most outrageous statement today. He was
Bobby, sorry, who is this guy? Because I'm reading his name
always,
like he's
Jimmy Dunn.
Like it's this legendary business dude. I've never heard the name before.
Sounds like he is a legendary business.
Yeah, he's just a big guy on Wall Street. He's made gazillions of dollars. I think he's the president right now of Seminole Golf Club in Florida. I mean, the guy's super connected, obviously. So I can't see that he would go this way, not knowing that he could somehow backdoor it through the court system or through the get all the congressmen to stand down and not try to make this thing go away. But he had a statement today when they were on, I think he was on Golf Channel, and he said something about, well, I personally know that none of the people who I've been dealing with on the PIF and that have had any part of killing anybody. And so, I mean,
he personally knows that.
Apparently not in so many words, but that's kind of what he said.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow.
What
that makes everybody, I was just going to say, that makes people
Thanks,
feel
Jimmy.
a lot
Okay, I'm
better.
on board now.
Yeah, now we're good.
Jimmy really knows how to get things done. Jimmy's got a compound fracture.
Yeah.
So with Bob Weeks joining us here around the table, I'm sure you saw the report of the anonymous, I think it was a player, maybe an executive with LIV, what they were saying about Rory.
Yeah.
Like it feels like he is the focal point of all of this because how much he hates LIV, and he's reiterated this week multiple times, like, I hate it, I want it to go away. We saw what Phil just tweeted out. Like, that was public. Phil tweets out, no one would want him because they'd have to put up with his stuff. And now there's someone anonymously saying, basically, we can't stand this guy either. Like, how is McIlroy going to work in all of this moving forward?
I mean, I don't think the LIV guys are going to have a chance to do anything about it because basically I think what's going to happen now is they're going to sort of phase it out. They might keep some team element. All those guys are going to have to come back. I think he's in the driver's seat, Rory. Rory's still well liked on the PGA Tour. He does have guys who don't like him. There was some yelling at him in that meeting, the players meeting that they had, because he's supporting Jay Monahan. He's kind of taken the high ground in pretty much everything. So he does have his enemies on the PGA Tour, at least in the short term. I think he's going to be fine. I think the guys who are going to be walking stuff back is going to be those LIV guys because there's no way it's going to work that way.
Does he ever just say, guys, that's it for me. I just want to golf now. You want to talk about the course I'm at, the tournament. I am done talking about this. I can't do it anymore.
He basically said that today. He basically came off and said, I've kind of said all I have to do. I said a lot yesterday. He said he felt the most relieved he has felt in the entire process was in his press conference on Tuesday. So he just said, yeah, finally, I got everything out that I wanted to say. He said how much he hates LIV. He told me, he said, I asked him, do you ever feel let down? And he said, the only thing that would be a letdown would be if LIV doesn't go away. So,
see, I don't think he can stop now.
No.
Like, now he's the face of it. He's the voice of it.
Yeah, but dude, he's so rich, and he's got so much in life, so many championships. Don't you get to a point, Hayes, where you're like, I can't keep speaking on this because I'm just getting buried by everyone anyway, so screw it. I'm a golfer. I want to golf.
Yeah, but true. But it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what you do as a profession. If you're a talker, you're a talker.
I was just going to say, I think it's in his DNA. I think it's in his DNA to be one of those outspoken guys and to be a leader. And if you're a leader on the course, they expect you to be like Tiger.
How many times do we say there's people that just can't help themselves?
Yeah.
But I don't think he's that guy. I think he could easily walk away and say, don't ask me again. I'm tired of the noise. I'm tired of the responses. I just want to golf.
He could probably do that. And then a month later, he's like, okay, I've got to I'm going to chime in there naturally. That's just how it happens.
At some point, he's still going to do an interview with somebody, and it's going to come up.
You're going to make a comment.
You can't stop journalists from asking him.
That was the case today. The first two questions were about his round. The next 8 were about the PIF stuff.
Well, and I wonder, the guys that aren't up here this week, how many of them are thinking, man, we're going to show up at the Open, and it's not over for us.
Right.
Like the guys who are here this week, it's probably over for the most part. Yes, there'll be different media down there, so it'll still be alive. But, we haven't heard from Scheffler yet. No. We haven't heard from Rahm. We haven't heard from Thomas.
What about the big guy?
Yeah, I was going to say Big Cat.
Tiger, we haven't heard from him. But Tiger's not playing he's not going to just do a spontaneous scrum with the media.
But wouldn't you figure he would have to chime in somehow one way or another?
He's probably done that behind the scenes, don't you think? He's probably had a comment or two to them.
I'm sure that the second, third, or fourth call that Monahan made was to Tiger. I know one of the early ones was to his agent, Steinberg, because he was at our course, but he was minding some of his other players. So I think they want to keep that guy on board for sure, even though he's got a bad leg and a bad foot and a
probably
bad
a
arm
good idea in the big picture and the grand scheme.
I'm telling you, nobody believes me, and I'm going to stick with my own thoughts on this. He was made aware of this stuff before any of it was even approached.
I think those guys knew a little bit that there was stuff starting. I don't think they knew it had wrapped up. That's kind of what I got from talking to him.
Okay.
Listening to Rory, he said they knew there was some stuff happening. It went quick, right? The week after the Masters is when they started, and it's done now. So
just the fact that Rory never once said, I was blindsided, as if he didn't know all this stuff was going on. Give me a break.
There's a chance that there may have been some acting going on.
Yeah.
It wouldn't shock anybody. Bob Weeks with us. McIlroy finishes 1 under. Like, that's a big part of it, just keeping him around for the weekend, right?
Yes.
Like, if you got tickets here Saturday, Sunday, you want to see Rory.
Exactly.
It's a different beast.
He's the draw if he comes. Now, I think he's going to play well. I saw him walk with him for 9 holes today, and he hit some edgy shots that were an inch this way or a foot that way. They're probably perfect.
Yep.
And so I think he can turn that around.
Yep. And you got, again, Corey Connors at 5 under. You've got some big names, Justin Rose at 3 under, Tommy Fleetwood 2 under.
Checking for the block party.
Yeah, the block party. I saw him at 1. I will say, I was standing right beside him when he teed off on 1. He got a massive ovation still.
Did he? Good.
Yeah, massive ovation. He's got way more sponsors on the shirt, on the arms.
He's got an agent.
He's got an
stripe
agent.
it?
Looking at it right now, plus 4.
He's 4 over. Yeah. Here's where it honestly made me realize that, like, what he did at Oak Hill was just a once in a million. Like a once in a million, because the first tee, you've played it here at Oakdale. Like, I played with Tommy Fleetwood yesterday. He hit a 3-iron.
Yeah.
And it was money. And he was playing, Block was playing with a couple of guys.
He nutted a driver, and it barely got in the fairway.
He hit a driver. And everyone else was hitting 3-iron or hybrid. But he's like, I have to hit driver. Like,
Sure.
I got to hit driver to keep up with these guys. And, it went wide left. I didn't see what he ended up scoring on 1. But that was a sign that this guy, it was a once-in-a-lifetime situation, and that's what it was.
He's had a nice ride. He's enjoyed himself, and he's
but when does he get the call saying, my little patch on the shoulder, rip it off, please?
This might be the last.
Those are Velcro, aren't they?
We'll see him next year at the PGA. Yeah, he'll be rolling through here soon.
Yeah.
That's our guy. We
That's
love the
our
block
guy.
party. I love the story.
block party.
I'd love to see him shoot well. I'd love to see that story come
How about a
alive again.
hole-in-one right here? Wouldn't that be
Be
good?
That would be
phenomenal
awesome.
right here. Absolutely.
But you're right. He caught lightning, man, 1 week, and it was
amazing.
like, that's it.
It was amazing. And the guy kept it going. Sunday paired with Rory at a PGA championship, and he found a way to shoot even par and do what he did. It was amazing. But
you know what, though? He'll probably make a ton of cake the rest of his life. He can go
Everyone
speak
knows
at
him.
golf events and
He'll
do
be
that kind of
member guest.
Oh, yeah.
Guys
Give
like
me
that.
10 grand. I'll be your guest member guest.
Everyone,
That's awesome.
exactly.
Good for
Handle
him.
it the right way. It's all good. All right, Bob, great seeing you.
Good to see you.
There he is,
All
Bob
right.
Weeks. We'll catch you here all weekend. There's Bob Weeks, our TSN Golf reporter. Got Mike Johnson coming up, Game 3 of the Cup Final. We'll start looking ahead with Johnny, also Justin Williams, our boy.
Nice.
Willie's coming up
Mr.
today.
Game 7.
Yeah, Mr. Game 7, exactly. And our boy Steve Sands from the Golf Channel and NBC. We love Sandsy. He will join us in studio. We can't wait for that. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Mike Johnson will join us here in about 20 minutes. Game 3 of the Cup Final tonight. Game 3 of the NBA Finals last night. Denver in the driver's seat, and obviously we know Vegas is in the driver's seat in the Cup Final.
And sometime in the next half hour, I'm going to show you a remarkable birdie and the reason why.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, we have video of some sort of birdie that happened, what, on 13 or on 14?
Mackenzie Hughes hit a dart on 14, and I will explain why it happened.
I feel like I know why. This will be exciting.
You have some insight? I have
feel
no
like
idea
I
what
have
this
some
guy's
insight.
talking about.
Yeah,
but
I feel like I have some insight.
are we waiting for video to come through?
We're waiting
it's gotta
for
be.
it to come through. I will give you the signal, Joe from the bridge. I want to hear I want to see the shots.
Yep.
And then afterwards, the reason why the shot happened.
Okay, I
And the
look forward to
karma
that.
and the
And
good
then-
luck.
So yesterday we wanted, there was a skullet video we were looking for. Right? And Joe from the bridge had to put in overtime on that. And now we've got a Mackenzie Hughes birdie on 14, which is great.
And GD just said that Mike Weir might be
On his way up?
On his way up.
He's
So
walking between 13
now,
and 14.
what was the bet again?
The bet is that Mike Weir, without
without him waving.
Without
Noodles,
any
I'm going to tell you to
instigation.
take control of the mothership here because we're both going to look out there to see if Weersy gives me a thumbs up. There's 500 on the
There's
line.
I'm spinning
500
around and I got a bald spot. It'll be live on TV.
I'm going to stand up here because I got to do play-by-play. I know we're on TV and this is going to work.
No, you're good. I'll tell you when to get ready in the Jimmy Nance position.
Okay, yes, because I need to Jim Nance this thing.
Okay, we'll find out because GD, didn't he just mouth the word, say Mike Weir right here?
They
so
must
I don't
be,
know.
They're probably putting on 13 right now.
Yeah,
so
they
when
are. They're
he
still on the
starts-
green, and when they get their stuff together and they're walking through, I know
He's
that
not gonna
Weersy
give
gives it the thumbs
You're
up.
very confident that Mike Weir, your boy, gives you a thumbs up,
you-
unprovoked.
You
thumbs
have to have
up.
your hands in your pocket.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You
I don't
can't
want to
go-
see, and
you're
you
gonna
better not
be-
have texted somebody. Bob Weeks just left here. What a coincidental
Coincidence. I
time.
saw
All of a
that.
sudden, Weeks, he's like, I'll be back in a bit, and he floats down there.
I know, but Hazy, what if he looks up and he's like, maybe that's the O-Dog, and I give a thumbs up first, and he goes back?
I don't think so. No, because you give a thumbs up to someone, they naturally are going to respond awkwardly with another thumbs up.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like it happens. You walk around here, someone gives you the thumbs up. You give a thumbs up back.
You do.
It doesn't mean he has any clue
Just like
who you
Billy
are.
Haas.
Billy Haas is capable of doing that on 13 green
See,
on Tuesday.
You're right, because if you do something to them, they're probably just going to give it back.
Yeah,
to you.
exactly.
You do a tiny wave, just a tiny wave, he'll give you the tiny wave back.
No.
I think he might,
I don't want you
know
to
what's gonna
provoke
happen?
him in any capacity.
He'll give him the head nod, though. That's where it's
Well,
going to
we'll
be
see.
the.
All right,
Remember,
we'll
Gord
find
Miller said. Remember, Gord said they'd locked eyes with Shawn Mendes, and Shawn Mendes gave him the.
That
the
was
head
an
nod.
outrageous comment
That
by
was
Gord.
a lie.
Gord
I don't
said,
think it was a lie. I feel like Shawn Mendes would know who Gord Miller is. I swear to God.
I think there's a very good chance that is the case. Like Gord has been on national TV for 30 years
Exactly.
doing like the biggest events.
Biggest
like,
platforms,
Gord
yes.
is a very famous person.
yeah.
But the idea that Shawn Mendes
They were in the Air Canada Club or whatever it was
Yeah.
at the Scotiabank, and they locked eyes. And apparently, the mutual respect, the head nod, like
there's just I still find that hard to believe.
I
find it hard to believe. But I think there are people in this world that you can pick up, you can interpret that type of stuff any way you want to, right? You can walk by a very famous person. If they look up at you, you could say, well, he looked at me, or,
Yeah.
you know, he recognized me or gave me a little head nod. Doesn't mean it's actually true. But
Yeah.
we'll see in about, I don't know, the next 10 minutes
honestly,
when my career comes rolling
the
through.
only time you run across famous people, Lawrence Fishburne hates my guts, but it was by accident. Like Pronger and I were walking on Rodeo Drive years ago, playing for St. Louis Blues. So this is late 90s. And Lawrence Fishburne was walking by, and Pronger goes, Lawrence Fishburne. And I screamed, Lawrence Fishburne. And he turned, and that's what I think rattled him.
Yeah.
Like it was almost like I was attacking him or something.
Right.
And he hated, like the look on his face was like, "Get out of here!"
That's
you
amateur
pitcher."
hour. You
It
guys
was-
should know better than that.
I
You guys
screamed his name.
Dude,
Yeah,
it's weird,
that's
though,
amateur
because
hour.
you get into a zone. I told you. I saw Patty Sajak in L.A. along the glass, and I slashed my stick on the glass. And I said, Patty Sajak! And I remember his face. He was like, what a loser.
Yeah, it's such a loser move because it's supposed to be the opposite way.
Yeah,
You're
thumbs
the
up.
the star, the people coming to see, smacking on the boards.
Yeah, but
You know,
I
not
don't
the other
know.
way around.
Pat Sajak was kind of cool, though. I feel like Sajak, he's a great follow on Twitter. Honest to God, like
I've seen
follow
him pop
on
up.
Twitter.
I don't follow
He's
him, but I've
so
seen
funny
him pop
on
up.
Twitter. Very, very sarcastic. I'm a big Pat Sajak
Is
guy.
he still running the show
I
there?
don't think
Wheels,
so. I think
Wheel of
he's-
Fortune, or is he done?
I don't know.
I honestly have no idea, but
The only time I see Wheel of Fortune now is it'll pop up on Instagram on those reels, and it's like people who can't figure the words out.
Right.
And it's all the letters. Like, it's just mispronounced.
there
or
are some
something
wild
insane.
ones, man.
Tough.
You know what
Tough
happens
customers.
sometimes? You're right. Is when they actually have the word and they can't pronounce the word properly. And Patty Sajak's like, "Ooh, man, that's not even close."
I've
pal."
seen that in the last month.
Yeah.
Every word, every letter is
Yeah.
out there, and the guy's like, wrong. That is as tough as it gets.
It's way more embarrassing, way more than obviously if you're just missing one letter, even
Yeah.
if it is very
Yeah.
an obvious word.
Yeah.
At least then you could say, well, maybe it's a different vowel or whatever. But if you literally have solved the puzzle
But you
and the
can't-
word is in front of you and you mispronounce the word, and Pat Sajak's got to be like, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but like
sorry, that's not it.
you're so ignorant that we can't allow you to win this. Why would you go on Wheel of Fortune if that was ever a possibility?
If you're an idiot.
Like,
I don't know.
If you ever could be in a situation where you could not pronounce the word properly that you're trying to guess.
The best was Alex Trebek, because he would go back at people.
He'd always
that's
goof
ridiculous.
on people.
Yeah, like that's ridiculous. It's
or
a terrible
he'd
answer.
give it a quick no.
Yeah.
Like he'd just immediately like, absolutely not. Like, I don't even need to wait for the producer.
Yeah.
You're brutal, and that's that.
It's going to be the moment of truth here within the next minute and
Yeah,
a
but
half.
we're off the air
We got
in
to
a
hit
minute.
the break here. We got to hit a break. How are we going to do this?
Well,
we gotta hold off, Joe, from the bridge. You've got to hold off.
Don't think it's a possibility.
Hold on, let's tell Mike Weir to wait 5 minutes until our break's over. That's what's going to really.
Let's try to break here. That means actually we can police this. Okay, we can police it. There's no funny business. I'm not, reading something off a page or looking in a separate way. This will be a full interpretation of what happened.
Record, and we'll play it when it comes back.
And when we return at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we will have an answer on if Mike Weir has any idea who Jeff O'Neill is. Mike Johnson will join us as well. Hour 2. We got Game 3 of the Cup Final tonight. We'll tee that up. Get his take on Shane Doan coming aboard in the front office with the Leafs. Overdrive continues live from the RBC Canadian Open at Oakdale, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.